Hey everybody, Attorney Matt Crowes here, Marc Lopez Law Firm, talking a little bit about how a domestic battery case can get out of control very quickly up into the felonies. So, domestic battery is one of the most commonly charged cases here in the state of Indiana. Now, domestic battery and regular battery are essentially the exact same thing with one minor distinction. So, battery is going to be a rude, angry, or insolent touching of another person. A domestic battery is going to involve that same touching in a rude, angry, or insolent manner, but it has to involve either a spouse, an ex-spouse, a domestic partner, an ex-partner, or someone that two people share a child with. That is what is the distinction between a regular battery and a domestic battery. Now, domestic battery, as is in general, is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in jail and a $5,000 fine. But domestic battery can get out of hand real quick. So, for example, if two people have a child together and that child is anywhere within earshot of a potential domestic battery incident, doesn't matter if the kid's asleep upstairs, doesn't matter if they're in the actual garage, as long as the kid is under 16 years old, and is within earshot, doesn't have to witness it, then the domestic battery is going to be charged at felony 6. Pretty serious, because once you get to a felony 6, you're starting to look at up to 2.5 years in prison. But the kicker here is domestic battery as a felony 6 cannot be reduced to a misdemeanor. So it's one of those that stays a felony for the rest of your life. That is troublesome. Now, it can jump even higher to a felony 5 if a couple of things are present. Number one, if the domestic battery is performed on somebody who's pregnant. That is what's going to get you to a felony 5. Felony 5, punishable by up to 6 years in prison. Also, if you have a prior domestic battery conviction against the same victim, then it's going to be charged, the subsequent one, as a felony 5. Again, that is punishable by up to 6 years in the Department of Corrections. And as any crime of domestic battery, if you are convicted, it's going to take away some pretty significant rights. The rights to own a firearm. It'll deem you an improper person. If you're stuck a felon, or if it's charged as a felony, there's not an avenue to have a domestic battery charge reduced to a misdemeanor, so you're stuck a felon, losing your right to vote in some instances. So it's some pretty gnarly situations you can get yourself into just because you had a bad day at work, or just because things are going on in the world. Holidays are coming up. Families are coming in from out of town. High stress situations can lead to some pretty catastrophic consequences. If you have any questions, first and foremost, if you are under the investigation of anything involving domestic battery, domestic violence, first thing to do, plead the fifth. Don't make any statements that are going to be contrary to your interest. In fact, don't make any statements at all. But more importantly, give us a call, 317-632-3642. Remember, always plead the fifth.